Hey guys, welcome back to Nature's Cadence Farm. Today we're going to be working on our 1997 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and we're going to be doing a filter and fluid change on it. And so that'll be nice to get that changed out. It's been a little while after we had the transmission rebuilt. It's been, you know, quite a few miles. So she's ready for it. We're going to go with some Royal Purple Max ATF in this, and whatever brand filter I have, I'll show you the part numbers for that here when we get started. So let's get underneath it here, and we'll start pumping the fluid out, and then we'll pull the pan and get going. So let's get started. So what I got going on here is a vacuum pump, like for HVAC, hooked up to this line, and then this reservoir here has another line coming off of it that goes to the a hose that goes down into the dipstick tube for the transmission. My glue kind of gave out right here. I'm gonna have to get a different glue and re-glue that on there. This is just an old applesauce jar, and this takes a little time, you know, maybe 5 minutes, but what it does is it allows you to suck all of or most of the transmission fluid out of the pan, so when you go to loosen it up, it doesn't drain all over your arms and all over the ground, you know, and then everywhere. There's still some left in it, but it's definitely manageable. This takes, like I said, takes a little time, but I just get it mostly full here, you know, somewhere around in this area, and I'll just dump it since we're replacing it anyways. But this is a pretty nice method. You can suck brake fluid out of the, you know, the reservoir, or anything, you know, differential fluid out if it's warm, thick enough, or thin enough if it's not too cold. And but anyways, yeah, I like using this method. It kind of makes it a little bit easier. So I'm gonna pull all this stuff out, and then we'll get up underneath it here and pull that pan down. So the recovery system thing here, this vacuum jar, is it's just pulling bubbles in now from the hose down in the pan. So I'm feeling pretty good that I've taken 3 jars of this. This will be a quarter of a jar, let's say. So I mean, you know, that's a significant amount of fluid. There'll still be some in there, but definitely manageable. So let's go underneath it here. We'll start pulling these pan bolts out and get ready to drop this filter. You'll need a 1/2-inch socket to take all the bolts out of the transmission that hold the pan on. And I like to use this wobble extension with this regular socket depth on here, and that works really good. Fits in there perfect. You can see this is the hardest one to get to, and that one is not a problem. I got finished evacuating all the transmission fluid out of the pan there. You can see I've only got 1 bolt left holding it, and you've got, you know, you can move the pan around. It's not dripping all over the place. I'm going to take that last bolt out, and we'll go ahead and investigate everything and make sure we got all the fluid out. Might have to dump a little bit more out of the pan, but let's go ahead and get this down and out of here. So that worked pretty good. You can see inside of the pan there, it's not all full of transmission fluid, and I'm just going to leave that kind of setting up underneath it here. Got the pan removed here, and we've got the filter right here, and this is going to get pulled out of here, but there's some Torx screws that holds the filter on. So let's go ahead and get our new filter kit and the Torx bit that needs to fit that. I already got the pan all cleaned up, looking good, you know, nice and clean, ready to go. And then I've got a T25 Torx bit, and that's what it's going to take to back these screws out of here. And you'll want to have a catch pan underneath the filter when you go to loosen it up. So here's the part number for the filter kit we're going to use. It's a 85707, and let's see here. It's this is a CarQuest brand, but it looks like it replaces the Pro King number FK119 and the OEM, it says MFG right there. A12011, G is in golf -2. So that'll work. So inside the kit comes a new gasket and obviously the filter. Does not come with new bolts, so just keep that in mind when you are removing them. You're going to need to hold on to them. I'm going to get the last bolt out of here, or the last 2 bolts. And I'm just going to put the filter down in my drain pan there. So we've got our new filter here, and the orientation is like this. So line up your center hole with one of your bolts, tighten it up hand tight, and then we're going to grab this other bolt here, run that up in there halfway decent, and I'm sure there's another bolt floating around here. And then we're just going to tighten them up plenty tight, not over tight, just tight. Just tighten it up to where it's snug. Alright, so now we're gonna, looks like the kit comes with 2 gaskets. We just want to make sure we get the right one. Best thing I can tell you is lay it on your pan and see which one you have. I'm gonna put the pan on now with the gasket, and what I like to do is run 2 bolts in, or 4 bolts in, I'm sorry, but 2 bolts, 1 bolt in each corner, and the gasket usually holds the bolt in fairly well for you in the pan like this. Kind of push them in there a little bit, and that rubber gasket will hold it. Like I said, I don't normally RTV these. I did go ahead and wipe down this gasket surface on the transmission itself, so that's nice and clean, and so it's prepared, ready to go. So you can see when you push these bolts in, it just kind of holds them in place. So we need to get our pan and gasket lined up with everything. Put this the front side in first and kind of hold it in place. Get one of them started, an easy one. This one back here has plenty of room around it. You don't have to fight with it at all. And then you've got one over here in this corner here that's easy to get started. So let's go ahead and get that one started. And that'll kind of hold itself in place. And then we get our wobble extension and socket. And hopefully we can kind of feel, make sure that gasket stays in place. I'm going to go ahead and put a bolt in there because that one wants to walk around on me a little bit. So we'll go ahead and get one of these started since we just put that in there. That'll hold this side up and in the right place. And then we go ahead and try to get these turning in the right direction, and they are. So I'm not running them up at all. I'm just getting them started by hand first, because I definitely don't want to cross thread anything into my transmission. I'm going to go around and put all these bolts on, and then we'll torque them down. Just going to go around in a cross pattern here and just snug them up and getting ready for the torque wrench. Alright, got my torque wrench here. This is a Proto. If I can find this stuff, I'll put some links down below for the tools and everything on the in the description. So I found some information, said it should be 53 to 74 inch-pounds for these pan bolts. I've got this set to 60. Let's see how that kind of feels. We're not going for crazy tight on here or anything. There we go. That feels about right. I know that sounds weird, but I know these things aren't torqued down super tight. Well, I'm just going to go across here. Smooth, no jerking, on the on torquing these bolts down. You just kind of get them started and then let it keep going there. So I'm just gonna go all the way around here, and then I'll get back with you guys when I'm done. Alright, I've gone around the pan twice now with the torque wrench and feel really good about everything. So we're going to go back up top now and go ahead and fill up the transmission with some transmission fluid. Got our max ATF here from Royal Purple, and it says here that this is acceptable for, you know, Chrysler ATF plus all the way up to +4 here. So I've used this in the van and had very good success with it. In fact, I want to say I even picked up like 1 mile per gallon or half a mile per gallon. We were driving about 3 hours away twice a week for a while there a few years back, and I tried this out and decided that it was, you know, it was definitely worth it. It cost a little bit, but you know what a transmission costs, so I think hopefully it'll help this one last quite a bit longer. But anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and pour some of this down in here and get this thing going. I'll probably start with 4 quarts or so, and then we'll start it up and let everything cycle through, check for leaks, and go from there. So let's go ahead and get this stuff in here. And this funnel is a Flow Tool funnel. I'll put a link for that down in the description. Well, that didn't take long to get that fluid in there. It's about 100 degrees out today, or let's say 40 Celsius or so. Yeah, this stuff, I had it sitting out in the sun, and it literally poured like water. So didn't have to wait for it to go in there at all. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this funnel in here for now and start the Jeep up and see if I can you know, make sure there's no leaks or anything like that. So I'm just gonna do a mental check. You know, we got all the pan bolts tight, we got the filter on tight, we got the hoses connected, everything should be good to go. So let's go fire this thing up. Alright guys, well that just about does it. It took about 6 quarts to get it filled back up. Now I did those lines too, and all that system was drained. Usually I think it's about 5 in there, but yeah, I just poured them in there and you know, check the fluid level in neutral. That's what this transmission recommends. So anyways guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.